acetone. The copper, when heated to threshold temperature, splits the acetone into acetylol, an alcohol of acetone, and water. These pennies are not losing any mass, nor the wire losing any mass, because the catalyst is not used up in the reaction. The pennies had to be heated to the threshold temperature. Once they were there, they maintained the reaction, and the product of the reaction is increasing amounts of heat. We covered on that one?
I don't.
So let's see. I think I'm gonna cool those pennies down. And so if you doubt, if you think maybe it's just a trick, those pennies were plenty hot. Okay. Now, the first time I did this, I had some. Yeah, please. Yeah, go ahead. First time I did that, I had some problems, and boy, I'll tell you what. If you don't believe there's a product that's heat, just feel the top of this Erlenmeyer flask. You know, that baby is. I'm going to have to move it this way. I can't do it any other way. Is ASE. So like if you're lactose intolerant,
it's water.
Good. And, you know, that's the universal solvent, I'm sorry. I hope it doesn't dissolve. How's your leg? It is a universal solvent. Have you ever melted? Okay. I'm sorry. I've never melted when I was taking a shower or anything. Anyhow, like if you're lactose intolerant, you don't produce in your body an enzyme called lactase. Okay, lactase is not present in your body. That's because you're lactose intolerant. You don't make lactose, so or lactase. And so you can go if you've eaten some milk product and you're lactose intolerant. If you've eaten some milk product, you can always solve the problem by going to the store and getting a product who has a name called lactate. Okay, and if you read the label, I read labels. I'm terrible about how I read labels. People go, God, you read everything on the label. Yes, that's how I know the truth. They're required to put stuff on the label. I want to know what I'm becoming intimate with. You know, when you eat something, you put it in your body. Those molecules will become part of your body. Rock on. Those molecules will become part of your body, and there's nothing more intimate than making it part of your body, right? Mm-hmm. And so I read the labels on everything. So I go down and I read a package on lactate, and if you read in there, it says contains active ingredient lactase. What does it work on? Lactose. You know that by the first part, lact. And you know it's an enzyme because it ends in an ASE, lactase. And so that's how we name our enzymes. What do they work on? They're an enzyme. Okay, now, I did not kill this cat. Okay, we live in Kern County. And Kern County has certain rules about dogs and cats. And for example, if you're driving down the road and you hit a dog and kill a dog, if you just drive away, it's called hit and run, because dogs are considered territorial. If somebody sees you, identifies your driver's license, see that you drove away, you're busted. Okay, but if you hit a cat, cats are not considered that territorial. It's not considered hit and run if you just go ahead and leave. Okay, so here we are in rural Kern County, and people really don't do appropriate things as far as taking care of their dogs and cats. That's why the animal shelter is so overpopulated. It's not their fault. They didn't go out and steal dogs and cats out of people's backyards. We got people that are just not responsible pet owners. And so if you drive out, like it took me 11 minutes driving out Edison Highway. If you're familiar with Edison Highway, you get out about 11 minutes out, and there's a bunch of abandoned old sheds or warehouses for, I don't know, some sort of refinery or something. And it was right about there, 11 minutes out, and there was a cat perfectly hit. Somebody hit it right in the middle of its back, you know, and just all the innards were just spewed straight forward. And so it was real easy for me to jump out of the car, run over and get out my little dish and scrape the cat liver. And I know what the cat liver looks like. I got plenty of practice up at Keene when I was a county fireman and truckers might get spaced out or something. They drive through a car, and we had to figure out which parts to put in which bags, in the body bags that we had when they, anyhow. So so I know what a liver looks like, and there it was perfectly spread out there. And so cat liver, has a special enzyme called peroxidase. What does it work on? Peroxide, right. So it's an enzyme called peroxidase. You know it's an enzyme, ASE, and it works on peroxide. So what is the formula of hydrogen peroxide? Hydrogen and oxygen. H2O2. Almost like water, right? H2O. Only difference between H2O2 and H2O is an extra oxygen, right? And so we use that extra oxygen. You know, I don't know that any of you guys ever saw the movie or read the book Outsiders, but the way Pony Boy gets gold, I'm not going to lick my fingers.
No.
I'm into gross, but not that gross. I have my limits.
Nothing?
I've got
Playing
a
with
little cat
liver.
liver left on my fingers.
Sorry.
And I'm not going to lick them clean.
You can do this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Wrong finger. Okay. Anyhow, I was on peroxide. Oh yeah, H2O2. And so, you know, just as kind of a side jaunt, Pony Boy goes to the pharmacy, or not Pony Boy, the other guy goes to the pharmacy. Oh, you're ready?
Just one. I'll wait till you.
Okay, goes to the pharmacy, and he gets some regular hydrogen peroxide, and they go and they bleach out. They don't actually bleach out, because bleach is an acid, right? So they oxidize the color out of Pony Boy's hair so that he has a lighter hair color, and it now looks gold, right? And so at the end of the story, it's stay gold, Pony Boy, stay gold, right? And so that's all I did. Anyhow, so I tried it with 3%. 3% doesn't do it. The regular pharmacy stuff will not. I've taken pieces of hair, cut it, and left it for weeks. It does not lighten the hair. If you want to lighten your hair, you need a stronger base than 3%. So you go to a hair salon. 3% is volume 10 at a hair salon. And so I didn't want any volume 10. I wanted something a little bit stronger just to accelerate this reaction. It can be done with the 3% in the pharmacy, what I'm going to show you here, but it works twice as well with volume 20. Volume 10 is 3%. Volume 20 is 6%. Now, one of the things I do auxiliary to this is this time of the year when I'm doing chemistry is I use volume 40 because I want to make sure my kids are starting to articulate things properly. And now the only, I'm getting white here, and I've done this for years, and my daughter was very insightful. She said, "Dad, I'm sorry, it's just not cutting it anymore to do your head hair, because your hair is already white." The only thing on your hair that is going to be able to show the contrast between oxidized and not oxidized are your eyebrows. So, you know, you can do everything else. Nobody will really notice the difference unless you, because I've done already 5 periods. I did this side of my hair, this side of my eyebrow, this side of my beard and mustache. And of course, it gives me a chance to talk to my kids about, you know, hybrid vigor and that sort of thing. Like I'm not just Irish, I'm not just German, you know. This side of my, I'm sorry. Sure it is, this would be my Irish side. This is the side you'd be talking to if you've got the red hair. And this is my German side. This is one's a dark hair. This is the kids that has a dark hair. And sure it is, this would be the Irish side. Which is it you're rather to be talking to today? You know, and so, of course, there was that one obnoxious little girl that said, she said, "Oh, if you talk that way all day, I just wouldn't come to class." Sure it is. I can talk like this for a very long time. I'm sorry. Is that a promise or is that a threat? I'm sorry.
You are a Gemini.
I am a Gemini. Yeah, my wife knows I am a Gemini. She says, "Am I talking to David or I'm talking to Dave?" Okay. So anyhow, so this is volume 40. This is volume 20. This works just fine. Now, guess what I'm breaking if I break peroxide with peroxidase? Guess what I'm producing? Remember, it causes a reaction.
Also, that's, I'm going to give you some stuff that I have handy.
Oh yeah, you got some of those. Good.
I think I've got a few, but I'll have to dig them up.
Yeah, I'd have to dig deeper into the Lake Street garage. I've got 2 garages. I'm sorry. I recently got married, found out what marriage is supposed to be like. I have an absolutely wonderful, 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 wonderful wife. In case you hadn't noticed, she's a wonderful wife. And I had a house, and I inherited a house, and so one house I still make payments on, and it's for storage. Okay, this is going. If I take hydrogen peroxide and I pour it, now if you ever had a cut or something, and you poured hydrogen peroxide on it, if it was dirty or infected or anything, you notice what started happening when you put the hydrogen peroxide on. Yeah, right. Okay, and so what are those bubbles, you might ask? H2O2. What's the difference between it and water?
1.
Okay, I need to get the volume up so that I can demonstrate that. What's in those bubbles? Any guesses? What's in the bubbles?
Oxygen.
What was Ron saying about the hospitals?
Don't smoke.
What do they have in hospitals? Oxygen in the tents. Why do they say no smoking? Go ahead, somebody's dying there, they got an oxygen tent on, they say, light me up a cigarette. Put it to them, they become a human candle. Sorry.
Or they go outside and they smoke.
They better get outside the oxygen tent.
You know, most of those cannulas are only like 3% or 6%, but the point is it's much richer than what you find in regular atmosphere. And there is a strong potential. The reason they don't want you to smoke in hospitals is that as you inhale, that the embers get hotter, they glow more, and you just start to approach that critical point that you could cause an explosion if there's any other gas, a combustible gas in the area.
Now, here's you know, in school right now they're talking about authentic assessment. Are the students learning the material they're supposed to learn? Okay, we're going to do an authentic assessment here. Okay, we are now almost done making oxygen. What will I use to make more oxygen? More liver or more peroxide?
Peroxide.
He gets it?
Good answer.
What grade? Oh, freshman. He's ready.
Yeah.
Right?
No, it's
not more liver, right?
No.
Because the catalyst is not used up in the reaction.
You know, and you know, when we're talking about gases, flammable gases, we were talking about hospitals. I mean,